Hi, Tim Unkert here, and this is the third part of this tutorial where we're building a simple landing page using CSS and SASS. Basically, we're using the SASS CLI, Dart SASS. We're making an it's a .scss file, and we're compiling that to CSS, to regular CSS. So we've created the HTML markup in part one. We're designing this project here. This is not mobile optimized. We're just doing the desktop version on this tutorial today. And in part one, or part two rather, of the part two of this tutorial, where we started into the SCSS part, we designed this nav bar here. Now you see the rest of it has no styling as of yet, okay? So we're going to get it to this final project here, and we're going to go back to our code editor. We are using, tonight I'm using Micro to do this. I'm going to exit out of this terminal here for right now, and I'm going to go down here, and we're going to start styling the hero section. So we're going to start styling the hero ID, okay? And within that, I want to color, okay? This is going to be RGBA, and I'll explain this in a minute, 0.7. So the 0.7, the 000 makes it black. The 0.7 makes it a little bit transparent, and with the hero background, which is white, that's going to give it kind of a gray look to it, okay? Just a little bit. And then within that, we're going to nest the container in that. We're going to include the mix-in, the container mix-in. I talked about containers in the last video, so if you're unsure what those, or not containers, mix-ins in the last video, so if you're unsure about what those are, take a look at that video. Our display is going to be flex. Our flex flow is going to be row wrap, okay, and that's going to allow us to set flex basis for the items that are in the container. For H3, we're going to include the mix-in, which is the H3 font styles. Okay. For H4, we're going to include the H4 font styles. Okay. And let me make some room here for our paragraph. Move this up. For our paragraph, we are going to have the font size set to the large font size variable that we set earlier. That was in the second video. And we're going to include the uppercase mix-in, which again, the uppercase mix-in only had one thing, but it's kind of demonstrating how you can include stuff in here. Okay. Within the container, we also had the left hero, okay? That had a flex, we want to have a flex basis, and I'm going to make that 40%. So that's going to span 40% of the width. Padding, I want 30 pixels on the top and bottom, 0 to the left and right. Within that, we had an unordered list. We had a couple unordered lists for the CSS and JavaScript things, the descriptions. Within the unordered list, we have list items, and I'm going to have a list style type for those be none. We're going to move them a little bit left, so I'm going to have the margin left be a negative margin, so negative 20 pixels, and I'm going to include the the font styles primary mix-in that we created in the previous video. Okay, and then we're also going to have, I want to go out to here. I also want to include the right hero, and within the right hero, I'm going to have a flex basis of 60%. I'm going to have a padding, again, of 30 pixels on the top and bottom, 0 on the left and right. In the right hero, I have the image within that, so the display is going to be block. Now, this is kind of where it's a little advantage, because when I'm doing a particular ID, I can nest an image in there and declare that stuff for the particular image, and I don't have to declare the class. So it kind of makes it a little bit easier to do it that way. There's a bunch of different ways to do the same thing when building a website, but this is one way. I like the nesting feature of the SCSS. You know, you may not like it this way. You may want typical CSS, but you know, you can do what you want to do. So I'm adding some styles here to the image. I added display block. That way we can center it. The width I'm making 90%. Okay. Height is going to be auto based off the width. The margin, 0 top and bottom, auto on the sides. That's going to center it. And then the padding on the top is going to be 5%. That's going to just push it down a little bit. And I think at this point, what I'm going to do, since we basically finished up the hero styles, I'm going to hit Control S to save, and then Control E, and I'm going to have a horizontal split. So I type H split. And then Control E again, type the terminal or term. That brings up the terminal. Hit the up arrow. We get the last thing we did, which was exit out of the terminal. But before that, we ran the SAS command. I'm just going to hit Enter, and I've got an error. So it gives me where I have an error. So at H4 font styles. Okay, so let's take a look at that. So let's go up. Include H4 font styles. Okay, I need the @ symbol. So that should fix the problem. I'm going to hit Control W to go back. We'll run it again. Let's see if it does. Yeah, and the problem is fixed. Okay, so now we go back to what we're working on, and let's see if this looks a little bit, that looks a lot nicer. So we've got our hero nice and styled. How about that? I mean, that's pretty nice. All right. So our hero is styled. This next part still looks like crap, but we'll work on that. Okay, let's keep going. I'm going to exit out of the terminal to make some more room, and I'm going to go down to get to the bottom of this file. Just hit Control and the down arrow. That'll bring me to the bottom. That's a nice little shortcut in Micro. And I'm going to work on the ID called Info Section 1. Now, when we compile the CSS after this section, you'll see what I mean about how the CSS is going to have kind of span stuff, because I started to get a little verbose with my descriptions and when I'm nesting things and certain things. So you can kind of see an advantage. You'll see in a moment. Stay tuned. We'll get there. Okay. Okay. We're going to have a background color here of the secondary color. All right. Color is regular color is going to be white. So FFF. The container's nested. We have a container nested in this. I'm going to include the container mix-in. I'm going to have a display of flex. Now I should have had maybe flex container and had a mix-in for that. Maybe I can probably refactor this code later on. Because I'm typing the same things again. Display flex, flex flow is row wrap, which helps with the flex basis. The left info section 1, we're going to have a flex basis of 40%. Okay, and a margin right, okay, 5%. So you'll see how that affects it in a moment. Within that, we have an H3. So that H3, we're going to include the H3 font styles. Okay, we have an H4. We're going to include the H4 font styles, and we have a paragraph. For this, we're going to have the font size be the medium font size. So I'm not declaring a different class. I'm just specifying it in the SCSS. And then we're going to include the uppercase. So we're going to make it uppercase. Okay. All right. So that was the left info section. Okay. So we also are going to have a right info section. One. Now I'm going to make my flex basis, because we have a margin right of about 5%. So 40 plus 5% is 45%. So 55% makes 100. Display of this is going to be flex. Flex flow of this part is going to be row wrap. Okay, and then within this, now you're going to see the real advantage, because we're having the right, left info section 1. And within that, I have a flex basis. I want those 2 images. So if we see our finished project for the first part, I want these 2 images to take up about the same space. Okay, so I'm going to have a flex basis within this 55%. They're going to take up about half of that, so 50% of that. Okay, the image inside this first section, I'm going to make it have a background color. So this image is going to be a little different than the other one, the styling for the other image. And again, I'm not specifying different classes for the images. I'm doing it in the SCSS. So the border radius is going to be 100%. That's going to give it a rounded one, because if you notice, this HTML photo is not rounded, whereas the CSS full photo is. So I want to get them consistent, where they're both rounded and both have a white background. Okay. So when I put this over like this blue section here, if I didn't have the white background, it would be blue. Okay. So that didn't look as good. So I decided to change that. Okay. The margin is going to be 30% auto. So 30% top and bottom, and then, it's going to center it on the left and right. The width is 80%. I think I need to put it in display block. I didn't do that, actually. So I might change things. We'll play with it. Display block. Yeah, because it wasn't quite centered the way I wanted it to. So I think that'll actually help. So looking through, I'm seeing some little errors that I made. All right. And then from there, no, that's... Okay, so that ends the right info section, and then we want the right info section 1. Okay, within that, I want to have a flex basis of 50%, and the image nested in there. Margin is going to be 30% auto. Width is going to be 80%. Height is going to be auto. And that's, we want display block. Okay. And I'm getting this extra. Container should be, let me just go up. Container, yeah, it's closing out there. Just Control X that line. Okay. All right, let's hit Control S to save. Control E, I'm going to bring up a horizontal split. Control E again, bring up a terminal, and go back and compile. And okay, so at 224, we are expecting another one of those. So we did need another one of those. Okay, that wasn't in there. Let me add that one back. Okay. Okay, so it compiled. Let's refresh, and whoa. we got something messed up with our spacing. Okay, so let me exit out of this, and let's see, where did we mess up? Info section 1, nested inside the container, left info section, right info section 1. Oh, these need to be nested. Okay, so let me shift, bring this down, cut this out, paste it. This stuff needs to come over. Neaten up my code a little bit. Somewhere there is something that has thrown this off. Okay. All right, let me save this. I think something is amiss here, but let's see how this comes out. Let's just check, see what's closed. So this closes here. This, if we go up, closes there. This, let's go up. Closes at the container. So yeah, we have an extra one. That's weird. What is going on? I think we're going to get an error. We compile again. So that's expected at 224. Huh. I don't think I closed out this one. Yeah. Okay, let me go down, Control Save. See if we fix this. Ah, there we go. Okay, we fixed our problem. Yeah, that was, didn't close that up there. All right, I think it's good point, now that we fixed that, to take a break, and then we'll move on to the next info section after this. If you like this video, smash that like button and subscribe and hit the bell for notifications, as it really helps the channel grow. And thanks for watching. Have a great day.